I'm a little tired today. Last night and this morning was just an extremely emotional ride. Lots of lucidity. But not that came easy. I'll put it that way. Yesterday I rather overworked myself, worked my body real hard, and had a hard time getting to sleep last night because I was so overtired, body tired, physically tired. And I don't know, must have fallen asleep somewhere around 2 o'clock probably. And about 10 o'clock this morning, after I was done sleeping, I was finally able to come lucid in a few different areas. But lots and lots and lots of dream fragments, you know, that stayed with me through the night. Just layers and layers and layers of communication, and that seemed to happen, what I will word as simultaneously, because I don't know, the way my awareness is working now is a little bit different than before. I don't seem to be accessing my memory in the way that I used to. It's more like I'm accessing specific moments in existence in time, and I'm able to actually enter them and subjectively experience them as though they're at any moment. Every moment that has ever happened is happening right now, and I seem to be able to access these moments in the now. And again, subjectively experience them as though they're, and as though they're happening right now. So each time I do this, there is an awareness in me that all of these moments that I've accessed are happening now, are happening simultaneously, even though I know that I accessed them one at a time in a sort of order. There's this other awareness that knows I'm not accessing them through my memory anymore. It's a completely different technology. I was going to say technique, but the energy said technology. Just lots and lots of emotional stuff. I mean, fierce emotional stuff, combined with what I mentioned at the end of my last video about this experiencing both sides of a situation. I still don't know how to word that really well. I guess I'll work on that as these videos continue and that continues to happen. But the first time I came lucid, or the first moment in existence I visually entered and subjectively experienced as though there, I'm talking with someone, and in this one I'm maintaining more awareness of the conversation itself. The emotion did not allow me to bring back much visual recall. But I'm speaking with somebody. This is a higher up. This is a soul level, spirit level, angelic, and I'm going to say angelic because I was feeling the presence of angelic-like energy through the night, and I don't think that's happened previously. That's not generally something that comes up in my experiences. But it did last night. I would generally use the word soul, but angelic seems fitting in this case. But this energy that was masculine was having a talk with me about letting go of states. states of being. And I'm getting very upset during this talk because maybe I'm not taking him the right way, but in the way that I was taking the conversation, which was about coming lucid and non-physical environments, I felt I was being told to let go of this. And I was very emotional, very upset. I was wanting to say something like, when somebody achieves a state of meditation, they don't let that go. Once you get there, once you achieve it, once you reach that state of being, which is, in my experience, just a state of pure peace, you don't let it go. And maybe, again, I was taking him the wrong way, but I was likening what he was saying about the coming lucid to what happens when you shift states from a just standard awareness into a meditative awareness. And I was so upset, I was so emotional that I was losing my voice. I wasn't actually able to verbalize this. The emotion just wouldn't let it out. And at that point I realized that I could relay myself telepathically, and this is when I started coming a little bit more lucid. Upon waking, of course, I intellectually understand what he was saying about letting go of states. But no, something of me, not intellectual, perhaps emotional, which I guess is the astral level, was not clear and not understanding, and very upset about this conversation. This energy, this calm, pure, peaceful presence was just... I remember the last line I heard before I came into another area. He was apologizing for my pain. And that caught my attention because, honestly, until that point, I hadn't seen anything like that. I didn't think myself to be in pain, upset, but not in pain. And anyway, that sort of just jolted me a little bit, and also helped me start coming lucid a bit more. The next environment I entered, and the metaphor in this one is interesting. I will start out by saying that the young girl that I'm viewing in this particular scene, her name is Maya. Like the Mayan, or like Maya as an illusion. But quite a few other things too. So there's multiple layers to this particular metaphor. But I'm witnessing this young girl, perhaps 6 or 7 years old, just brutally, verbally unleash herself on another young person who is just curled up down on the floor in emotional agony. And I then see a larger, more masculine energy. You could say a man, perhaps in his 20s, come and get this young girl named Maya, and together with another perhaps 14-year-old boy, they begin the same on her. And she's down on the floor, curled up, just in anguish. And this is when I start feeling the angelic energy, and I reach out. I want to take the young girl in my arms, and I understand or feel there is some sort of, not quite danger, but the men certainly aren't going to want me to do this. But I do, and I feel this just peaceful, pure, angelic-like love flow through me, and it is completely intermixed with Maya's just utter emotional agony. Both together perfectly, beautifully fused, and the experience of this was just beyond anything I've experienced to date, really. As I was reaching out for her, I remember intuitively calling for inner assistance because I felt I needed help dealing with this situation. And the man, the larger of the masculine energies there in front of me, came back and was going to take Maya from me with force. And as he's moving in on me, he stops short and then moves back. I can see he's looking or stopped by an energy just behind me and off to my left. And at this point, I didn't even know that the assistance had shown up, but now I know that I'm not alone and there is assistance here. But I also know I have to give this girl back to the male energies, and at this time I do. And then I phase out from here. Before I started this session, I was feeling the K energies, what some people call the tingles, the K tingles, through my body, and they're very much centered in a sort of circular fashion between the navel and upper thighs. Very clearly I'm experiencing the second chakra energy and base chakra energy, and I say, okay, link me up with the highest, most appropriate vibrational lover type energy possible. And the next environment I came into, I love it when it happens this way because it gives me a chance to see more and sort of in more detail. But from my perspective, I'm just, lying on the practice space, looking into the blackness in front of my closed eyes. When I do this very, very often, I understand at this point I actually am in many visual environments. And so I just keep my attention open to the fact that I am. And at a certain time, I start repeating in my mind, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And I realize that I'm actually seeing something. I'm beginning to enter a visual landscape. It looks like I'm in a living room staring up at the ceiling. And as I'm saying, I'm here, I start to get it. I've arrived at a location, and I start saying in my mind, open your eye, open your eye, open your eye. Really telling myself. And, the inner eye opens fully, and I arrive fully at the location. Now, I phase in and out of here multiple times, like I often do, and there's too much interaction to go into. But the part that I will go into here, because this has happened multiple times, I was linked up again with the energy of Heath Ledger. This is about the 6th time in the past year that's happened, and it's rather interesting that happened when I asked to be linked up with the highest, most appropriate vibrational lover energy that I get Heath Ledger in this one. Just after his death, I came across him a handful of times, almost like back to back. But in this one, at a certain point, he's very clearly standing directly in front of me and just looking young, glowing, and exceedingly well. And I tell him this, and he says something, but I don't hear him. And then he sort of runs around a corner. I run around the corner after him and find him at this sort of short bookcase. And he's facing away from me at this point. And so I put my hand on his shoulder and turned him toward me, and we're still having a conversation. And although I remember all the visuals and all the energy sensations and all the emotion from this, I don't remember a lot of the conversation. I remember the last thing he was saying to me. He was expressing to me how intensely he was wanting to make love. Not his words, which were a little more coarse. But at this point I start feeling the angelic like love energy flowing through me again, and there's just pure love and absolutely no judgment, no judgment at all about what it was he was looking for, what it was that was being expressed to me, nothing. And just out of my mouth flowed the words, "You will find this, you will." And I guess our energy at that point no longer matched, and I found myself dematerializing from here. But just extremely strong emotion there, extremely strong emotion with Maya, extremely strong emotion over the conversation with the higher up. And then more through the night. Just endless. Sort of emotionally spent this morning, but in a good way.